What up, YouTube? Big T.O. Heavybag Boxing TV. Man, if you don't get your big goofy ass in here and hit the bag, hit that like button for your boy. That helps the channel. You know, I appreciate that love. Shout out to gang, the bag hitters. Y'all know the count. Usual suspects, Tyree, Celestine, D1s, Boxing, Troy, Jack, and not just subscribers, my members of the channel. Shout out John out the BX, the Boogie Down. And of course, Sean and Don, hold the goddamn phone. Now, if you're catching me for the very first time, please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, and most definitely hit that notification bell so you can get all the content, baby. Now, I got a special guest in the building, man. Oh, we go all the way. Hey, yo, we go back like car seats. Yes, and sir. I got to queue up my shit for my guy. Real quick, y'all got to understand, when I first started doing YouTube, this was one of the first cats that reached out to me, man. It was a bond off the rip. I got to welcome my guy, Rebellyfe Boxing.
What up, man?
What up? Rebellyfe, what up, fam?
What's up, homie? What's going on with you?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm chilling, and it's a pleasure to finally be getting to do this, man. And I think I'm going to call this the sit down. All right. Then when you see, when I bring the fellas on, man, my family on, we're gonna call that the sit down. We having a sit down, mafia style. Rebellyfe, man, what's been good with you, man? What you been getting into?
Been living, man. You know, today was a little hectic with the kids and shit like that, but you know, they almost ran me into the dirt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Wait, a fellow toddler. We got toddlers, man. The old fellas with the toddlers.
Yeah, bro. 3 years old, son. And it's almost like a terrible, like, fuck the terrible tools, bro. It's like as soon as she turned 3, she got on some other shit. I'm like, damn.
Yeah. Blessings to the young queen, man. And listen, what else? So today, man, on this episode of the Sit Down, we talking about Terence Bud Crawford. So I had to call in the Bud Crawford specialist, the sharpshooter when it comes to Bud Crawford. Shout out my guy Timmy's the best 2-punch drunk. He's also a huge Bud Crawford fan, as am I. Terence Bud Crawford, I think a lot of people feel like at this point he's probably getting froze out, right? It's not going to be easy because he didn't want to do a multi-deal situation with the PBC. There's not many other welterweights or even 54s out there outside of the PBC that's interesting enough for people to really want to see Bud Crawford fight them. I got to ask you, man, with the landscape the way it is now and Bud Crawford being in the position he's in now, what do you see for Bud Crawford? Like, who would you like to see Bud Crawford actually fight next?
Like I said, man, there's one welterweight that I would like to see him fight, and I'm pretty sure everybody already know who that is. And then there's some 154s. As far as welterweight, I want to see him fight Boots, but I want to see Boots go up and fight him. You know, as far as 154. Jamel Charlo is still champion in recess. I still want to see that. Tim Tszyu for sure. I still want to see how that will play out. Fundora, I want to see how Bud do against somebody that tall and lanky.
Yeah.
Erickson Luke. It's a few fights, man. I know he ain't gonna fight all these dudes like that, but if he had 4 more fights, I would have to say Boots, Jamel Charlo, Tim Tszyu, and I still want to see the rematch with him and Spence because I'm just curious to see how, you know what I mean?
Whoa.
You know, so everybody say to his fans, you know, he gonna be better at 154. Okay, let's see.
Okay. Let's see. I don't know about this. How I feel about Spence.
We should plan this another time. This nigga's scared.
Yeah.
That nigga might be scared to fight Bud again.
He is, bro.
Listen, I agree. I love all of those fights. I definitely would love to see Bud Crawford mix it up. But then we got the fantasy out the way. We got to bring in the business part. When it comes to the business, now you got to understand, Bud Crawford coming off a massive pay-per-view card with Errol Spence completely washes him. His stock has risen. We've seen his social media numbers, and I don't know if you're a big fan of the social media and how that translates to ticket sales and pay-per-view buys, but we seen the big spike in his social media. Going into that fight, Errol Spence had more subscribers, more fan, bigger social media than Bud Crawford. But after he did Spence dirty, his numbers went through the roof, right? So I do believe that there's a big demand to see Bud Crawford, but he doesn't have that deal in place with the PBC. It's going to be difficult for him to make any of these fights without the PBC say so. And for Bud Crawford, he's already told us who he wants. He wanted the winner of Fundora and Tim Tszyu. It happens that Fundora somehow, some way, by the grace of God, came out of that fight the winner. Now, with Bud Crawford using his WBO super champ status to petition for that fight, he's supposed to be next. Right. The PBC is unlikely to continue to work with Bud because he's not cooperating the way they want him to cooperate. Right. I mean, is it safe to say that?
Yep.
Because if this thing was going the way it's supposed to go, Bud is definitely next in line because of the WBO situation. Can we agree to that?
Absolutely.
So let me ask you this. If the Fundora fight is what's next for Bud Crawford, shouldn't the PBC be rolling out the red carpet for Bud Crawford? And what do you make of their relationship?
Yeah, they in a perfect world, they should be rolling out the carpet for him. But now that I think about it, they ain't gonna do it because, like you just said, he's not playing ball with him the way that they want him to. And he just spanked their darling. You know what I mean? So I'm looking at it like they don't Errol Spence is he was the flagship of the PBC, so to speak. And they done crashed up their fucking car, you know what I'm saying? And like literally and put him in the motherfucking shop. You know what I mean? And now they got put new wheels on him. They put new wheels on him. Now they trying to roll. He's out of the mechanic. Now they trying to roll his ass back out there again. It ain't gonna work. And he wants to move. Bud want to move the way he want to move. And if he gets his hands on all them belts again, it's not gonna look good for them, man. So I think they know they don't want the same thing to happen. They don't want the repeat to happen, bro.
Yeah,
even that's bad for boxing, you know.
Right.
It's crazy.
They can't stick their hand up Bud Crawford ass like they can with Spence and work that puppet. You know what I mean? Bud at this point in his career not willing to be a puppet, and he's standing on the square as of course about being independent and having that co-promotional deal. Because I don't know if you knew, but it was said by Lukowicz that it was going to be tough to negotiate with Bud, and that it was going to be tough to negotiate with Bud, and that whole co-promotional situation was dead. You know what I mean? He wasn't going to be able to co-promote. They're not giving him the Canelo or Tank Davis treatment. They don't care if he's a free agent. You get this, and that's it. For Bud Crawford, man, I think it sucks for Bud Crawford. But let me ask you this. With what he was able to accomplish, what he's done in the sport of boxing, what he did versus the Spence, is it fair for Bud Crawford to garner or to demand the kind of money he's asking for? Now, it's been reported that he's asking for at least $15 million guaranteed for the Fundora fight plus pay-per-view event. Now, and in my head, I'm like, well, if they giving Canelo Alvarez $35 million for somebody like a fucking Jaime Munguia, I don't see why not give Bud Crawford $15 million.
Right.
What do you think about that?
Absolutely. Now, like I said, with the Canelo, he get away with all type of shit.
Yeah.
They let him slide, and he could come back and renegotiate shit, and you know what I mean? And I'm like, why? And I'm like, yo, bro, is it because Errol Spence was supposed to line up a scrap with him, in which I'm hearing that might be a thing next year. That's what I'm hearing. I heard other
Yeah,
channels talking about that too. So, hell yeah, he deserved that shit, man. Who the fuck? Who is Jaime Munguia? So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
no,
And
absolutely,
listen. We want to give Canelo his flowers.
yeah,
He puts asses in seats. He does pay per
yeah,
view
oh
numbers.
yeah, for sure,
But you got a brand new fan base that Bud Crawford just tapped into coming off this Spence win. I
yep.
don't care what nobody say. Bud Crawford is hot. He hot as fish grease, and I think majority of the boxing fan base want to see this brother fight.
But you got other channels. I ain't gonna say no names, you know what I mean? But they were talking about how the fuck Errol Spence. He's still the A side. He's still demanding shit. How he's still the A side and he lost? I'm like, oh
Yeah.
God, whatever, bro.
And listen, I do think it's still a bag out there to be made with Errol Spence. That fan base in Dallas ain't going nowhere. If the chick is cheap enough, you can do some big numbers in Dallas Stadium, AT&T Stadium.
Correct.
But I'm a true believer of trying to keep what little bit of corner piece of integrity left in the sport of boxing, if it is any, trying to keep that little shit intact and playing fair with everybody. And if we was, again, like you said, if we was gonna play fair and everything was to go the way it's supposed to go, Bud Crawford would definitely be next. But now I wanted to touch on this next subject when it comes to Bud Crawford and being his own promoter, being independent and working outside or behind the scenes to make these fights happen. I asked you if you heard about Bud Crawford potentially having the Saudi backing to make some of these fights. You said no. And I told you that I was listening to shout out to Boxing Voice. I give people credit when they deserve it. Mm-hmm. Somebody called in and said Bud was trying to make the fight with Fundor and Saudi. And then I get further sort of confirmation or more speculation from Dante's Boxing Nation. Shout out Dante's Boxing Nation, where he said he had this to say. And I thought I had it queued up. Mm-hmm. Oh, wait a minute, motherfucker. Let me cue it up for you guys.
Which is obviously the real reason why they don't want to fight Terence Crawford, because they know or they feel that's almost a guaranteed loss fighting against Terence. So one of the more recent excuses, Sampson, he was saying that it's going to be very difficult to negotiate with Terence Crawford, et cetera, et cetera. It's so funny because as Sampson was doing this interview, a Spanish interview, making these excuses, all of a sudden Crawford's attorney, he calls Sampson while he's doing his live interview. And he says, we have an offer for you in Saudi Arabia. So this is what Sampson said about this conversation. He said, Crawford's lawyer called me up, very respectful. And he said, look, I have an offer for you to fight in Saudi Arabia with Crawford and your fighter, Sebastian Fedora. And I said, look, I thank you very much, but I don't want to hear it because he's not going to be ready until November. I didn't say December, but it seems like until November. I mean, I didn't listen to the offer. I can't listen to it. I can't negotiate when my fighter is hurt. End quote.
What?
End quote. So shout out Dante's Boxing Nation. He's quoting this and he says from a Spanish channel, a Spanish network where they was having this conversation with Lukowitz. And apparently Bud Crawford lawyer calls him and is trying to make this fight with Fundor, Saudi Arabia. Now, again, I told you I heard this is the second time I'm hearing this. It caught my eye when I saw the title for Dante's Boxing Nation. And I'm like, okay, well, listen, if this is the second time I'm hearing it, it could be potentially some truth behind it, right, Reb?
Yep. Yeah.
Now, with that being said, and Bud Crawford making his own attempts to get this fight done, I think at this point you can kind of call it blatant freezing Bud out, blatant rejection of Bud Crawford to not even negotiate, because you got to think they already got the news that Fundor is injured until September, November. That news is out there. So Bud Crawford could be potentially trying to position himself to get that fight when the time is right.
Yeah.
But to not even want to hear the offer. Now, let me ask you, Red, what do you make of this speculation?
As far as his lawyer reaching, his attorney reaching out, I like that. As far as Lipkowitz, whoever his name, I can never pronounce his name.
Lukowicz.
Yeah, Lukowitz. I'm like,
Yeah.
November. I'm like, bro, he broke his the suspension, after they fight. Is that was it 6 months?
Yeah, the
I think I
commission
read that.
gave him the medical suspension for 6 months.
I'm like, damn. And plus his nose was broken. So I'm like, but why can't you still negotiate something though? You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
and another thing I'm thinking about is Bud. Cause I'm like, do they want him to wait? They trying to wait him out? Because Bud ain't fought, bro, since July. So I'm like, I can't see him not taking another fight. That's gonna be, to me, that's too long, bro. I mean, that'll be what, a year and a half?
Yeah.
Nah,
Yeah. So July make a year.
Yeah.
Anything after November, man, you right at a year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sound like they definitely trying to freeze him up. Definitely that's what they doing.
Sure.
Yeah,
because
so go ahead.
Go ahead, nah. You say same with Errol what?
Same with Errol. So I'm like, Errol hops in the ring and says what he says. So would it be the same thing if Errol said if let's say Bud wasn't in the picture, he moved himself out. I wonder if then will magically that suspension be pushed up like 3 months, or if it would be different for, would they negotiate with Errol? If my boy's injured, would you negotiate with Errol right now if Bud wasn't in the picture? Something ain't right.
Yeah. And to me, it's believable for Bud Crawford to be trying to make these kind of moves, because I remember it was reported his team had already had the thumbs up from Saudi if he wanted to do the fight with Chris Eubanks, if that was a real thing. We come to find out it wasn't a real thing, but he did have that back, and that was confirmed. And it just makes sense to me for Bud Crawford to be knocking on other doors in order to get his particular fights done. Yeah. But to me, I think because the PBC, these guys are with the PBC, everybody with the PBC loves Al Heyman. They always shouting out Al Heyman. It's going to be hard for anybody to turn coat on Al Heyman. You know what I'm saying? And make a move without his approval. I just think Bud is in a fucked up situation, man, because again, coming off such a big win, man, it should be some nice big fights lined up for him with the carpet rolled right out, man.
Yeah.
I feel.
Absolutely. I'm another person I forgot to mention who I want to see Bud fight. I know a lot of people gonna be like, why? But I just do, bro. Tank. I want to see him spark his little ass. I would love to see that. Because he said he will knock him out at welterweight. But I think Bud said, hey, I'll stay at welterweight for him. Like he said, if my chin is weak, let him come touch it.
He did, but them niggas ain't gonna feed Tank to no Bud, bro. Tank.
You can plan this another time. This nigga's scared.
Tank scared.
Exactly.
Tank scared as hell, bro.
Yeah.
Ain't no fucking way. None. And then listen, I would love to see. Listen, that would be a mega fight.
Yeah.
If he could get Tank in but man, that's the more and more I say it, the more and more it sounds far-fetched, bro.
Yeah.
Another fight though that people think is a little far-fetched and probably would never happen, that I think is maybe one of the reasons Bud is kind of still holding on to the belts. And I said this and people was like, nah, you ain't there no way. But the T.O. fight is out there. That's a big money fight. You know,
Lopez. Yeah.
I think he could make the kind of money he wants to make. Now, is that a realistic fight? Maybe not. But I think that's a money fight for him out there because he's insisting on holding these belts. I don't know why he's holding these belts. Maybe
I don't know.
You got a reason why he might be holding on to these belts.
Bro, I had made a video, bro. I've been sitting down trying to figure out. I think we could be see. I think Boots might still be on the table, man. Maybe that could be why, bro. I'm thinking, like, cause who else, bro? Stanionis?
Yeah.
No, I'm thinking it's Boots, man.
Somebody's got to be
Boots.
willing to pay Bud for Boots, though. That's the thing. And
Right.
my boy made a good point. I can't remember who it was. I was on Breaking Beats, but he said Bud is holding the belts hostage until somebody pays him, and that's
Oh,
about the only logical reason
ah,
I can see why he is holding on to the belts and holding shit up.
right.
Like somebody's gonna have to pay me to take these goddamn belts.
Ain't
But
think
if you
about
wait
that.
them out long enough, they're gonna strip them anyway.
Yeah,
But
right,
I can understand him for at least a year and a half holding on to the motherfuckers until somebody pay him.
right. I didn't think about that. That makes sense.
That makes
'Cause-
sense, right?
yeah,
To hold on to that for some kind of leverage. But my thing is, man, Bud coming off this fight, 36 years old, he'll be 37 in September. Not many fights left. He's already alluded to retirement. He wants the big money fights. He wants the big fights, but somebody's got to be willing to put him together for Bud. And as of right now, there's no telling who the fuck Bud fights next. So let me ask you this, Rebellyfe. If you had to guess, out of two names that Bud Crawford would be fighting next, who would it be? What fights could possibly get done next for Bud Crawford?
when you think about it, if the PBC is giving him a hard time like this, maybe it could be somebody that's not PBC. But then, it was crazy because when it came to remember how they used to say, yo, PBC and Bud is hard to work together, but then he fought Sean Porter. So I was like,
Yeah.
kind of like, you know what I'm saying? So, if we're gonna leave PBC in the spectrum, I would say maybe he said he want the big fights, right? Well, he want the dudes with the belts and the big money fights, pretty much. So it's all about legacy and bread for my boy Bud. I respect it.
Right.
Damn, bro. Tim Tszyu, maybe. He probably fight Tim Tszyu before he fight for Endora. I think that probably happened before for Endora, bro. I would think Bud gonna wait it out. But wait a minute, don't Tim Tszyu, ain't he on a 6-month suspension too, right? Both of them.
Nah, he on a 6 to 10 week suspension.
Okay,
because he just had to cut. He got the 10 stitches now, so
okay.
Yeah, he gonna be out for like a month and a half, maybe 2 months.
Yeah, I think it's either Tim Tszyu or man, I would like to see Boots get pulled up and wait. That would be crazy. But I don't think they want to fight Terence Crawford though, man.
Who, Boots?
Yeah, I think Boots want to fight him, but I don't think they want Boots to fight him. You know what I mean?
They've been calling for it, man. I think they do want that fight, but again, it's just a matter of who's gonna pay Bud the money that he needs for the fight. And that's my whole thing. You can't be mad at Bud Crawford, especially coming off this Spence fight, for asking for $15 million, bro.
Right.
Everybody wants to see Bud fight, bro.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think that's a solid investment in Bud Crawford now. Coming off the Spence fight at $15 million, in my opinion. I know people gonna shoot that down, but I just think that's a bargain for Bud Crawford right now.
It is.
You know what I mean?
He took 25 to fight Spence. So and then he's already unified right now. 50. He taking a pay cut. You're right.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a bargain.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this and we'll wrap it up. I think, depending on what the WBO does, now that it's already been confirmed he's uses super champ status, activate that mandatory for the WBO. 5 days after the fight, they supposed to have started negotiations with Bud Crawford, 180 days to actually make the fight. Now, I don't know how it's going to work with this medical suspension given by the commission. Maybe Lukowitz or somebody has to talk to them and say, hey, listen, look at the situation we in before you actually strip him of the WBO. But that ultimately, I believe that decision comes down to the WBO. And if they strip him, then I think Bud would have to fight the number one contender in a Josh Kelly for the vacant WBO belt. And I think more than likely that could potentially be the next opponent for Bud. I just don't see PBC willing to work with Bud without him signing like a multi-fight deal
Right.
and having him in some kind of position that they want him to be in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, that's true.
Maybe he fights the WBO mandatory, depending on how this WBO situation works out. Other than that, I don't see who's going to get a fight done with Bud Crawford. That's a big ass question mark, and the time ticking. And as far as Tim Tszyu go, that's an in-house fight with Errol Spence. I think Errol Spence get Tim Tszyu when he heals up before Bud Crawford.
Right.
You know what I mean? You agree with that?
Yeah, like I said, the way it's looking, man, that's their darling, bro.
Yeah.
And
with a belt or without a belt, that's still a decent fight for Tim Tszyu and Errol Spence.
Yeah, that's a decent fight, man. I think I ain't gonna lie though. I think right now, I think Tim Tszyu gets him though. I think Tszyu get him, man.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Hey, listen, especially looking at that Fundora fight, I don't care what nobody say. Tim Tszyu won a lot of new fans in that Fundora fight. So he's got the clout, and that fight with Errol Spence's name on the marquee is big, but I do think he gets Errol Spence, bro. I think he beats him.
He gets him, bro.
Yeah. I think he get him. I think he might get him bad too.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. He gonna
I don't want to shit on Spence because I still believe he a dog.
Right.
But man, that's some punishment you took in your last fight, and you compound that with everything else you've been through.
Yeah.
Tim Tszyu younger, fresher, and got some real 54 power.
Yeah. And he ain't been active either, so all of that shit, bro.
Yeah,
all
man.
Of that. The only way Bud is gonna get those fights, the only way he's gonna really be able to like solidify anything with them is if he bend and say fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Let me take a couple of. That's the only way I could think about it.
He got to bend the knee. He got to bend the knee and kiss the ring. He got to kiss the ring.
Yeah, unfortunately. You know what I mean?
Unfortunately, but for Bud, but also we got to see how that his Saudi Arabia connect pan out as well.
Forgot about that.
Hopefully they can get something done with that. All right, man. Incredible conversation. I probably didn't want it to last this long, but man, it's a good time. And hopefully you'll come back and rock out with your boy, man.
All day, baby. You know that.
I truly appreciate having you in here. You got some shout outs, man. You wanna throw out there and plug yourself?
Yeah, hey, I want to shout out first and foremost the bro Heavybag Boxing TV. You know, we from, I'm from New York, but we share state now, VA all day, baby.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna have to come down to the Hampton Roads when it get a little hotter. I'm definitely coming down there, bro. We gonna talk about
come rock with me. Come rock with me.
Yes, sir. Shout out E Thriller the Black Picasso. Yeah. My man Tough Glove Boxing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Man. It's so many, bro. It's so many channels. I can't get them all out, man. But y'all can check me out on, my YouTube channel, Rebellyfe Boxing. My Twitter. Go check out my Twitter account, Rebellyfe Boxing, man. I'm just getting started. I gotta get my background like my man B.O. shit, man. I gotta get it like that.
No, man. No doubt, man. No doubt. I appreciate you, man. My guy, Rebellyfe Boxing. That's all I got for y'all on this one, man. The second episode of the Sit Down featuring my guy, Rebellyfe Boxing. I appreciate y'all. Y'all know the drill. Big T.O. Heavybag Boxing TV. I ain't got Roger with me, but you know the quote, man. Most motherfuckers don't know shit about boxing. We out of here.